Hi, I'm Frank, and in this video, I'm going to talk about the differences between therapy and life coaching. Now, I am a certified life coach. I have been running my own life coaching business for several years now. I got certified in 2015, and since then I've been able to have a successful life coach business that I now run full time. In addition to that, I'm also the founder of Thriving Coach Academy, where I provide a coach training program that helps to teach and mentor and certify those looking to start businesses as life coaches. And one of the big questions we get asked for a student early on is, what's the difference between a therapist and a life coach? So this is going to be a really valuable video for you if you are looking to start a career as either a therapist or a life coach and you're not sure which career path is right for you. And this will also be a helpful video if you are going through stress in your life and you're just wondering what kind of professional would give you the most appropriate support based on what you need. So first of all, I've divided this video into 3 parts. The first part is I'm going to talk about the difference in the service that is offered from a therapist and a life coach. Second, I'm going to talk about the difference of training required to become a licensed therapist or a certified life coach. I'll talk all about the different training requirements. And then finally, I will talk about the difference in career options and possibilities, so that way you know exactly what your opportunities, but also your limitations are if you're looking to pursue one or the other, or perhaps both. So let's start out by talking about the difference in service that's being offered. So when I was growing up, I thought that when someone had stress, that the only person that can help them resolve their stress was a therapist or a counselor. I thought that those were the only professionals to help with that. And what I have now discovered since I learned about the life coaching industry is that they are also able to help clients overcome stress. The difference is exactly what is really going on for the client and where are they looking to go in their life. So let me unpack that a little bit and explain what I mean. So if you were to imagine that there was a spectrum, and at one end of the spectrum was dysfunction, like someone's in a complete state of dysfunction, and at the other end of the spectrum is being in an optimal state of life, like we're living our best lives, we are thriving. And then somewhere in the middle is functional, where we're just kind of going through the motions, we're getting through our life, things are fine. So a therapist is someone who mostly helps someone that's looking to get from somewhere in the dysfunctional state to a functional state. Whereas a coach works with someone who's in a functional state already and they're looking to achieve an optimal state in some area of their life. So a therapist generally looks to help someone resolve some pain from their past to help them function in the present moment. So I'll say that one more time. A therapist helps someone that is challenged and stressed out by some kind of pain that they have from their past that's keeping them from being functional in the present moment. A coach overall is helping someone cultivate the strengths from the present to help them get to their desired future. So when a therapist is working with someone, they are looking to their past for a lot of the answers. So a therapist is someone that will help their client uncover parts about their childhood, about things, experiences that have been traumatic for them in their past, and help to resolve that. A lot of the focus in a therapy session is on things that happened in the past. Alternatively, as a coach is going to focus more on where is the client right now and where do they want to be, and how could we bridge the gap between where they are and where they want to be so they can get to that desired future. So there's much more of a future orientation and approach that a coach takes. Now, there are some forms of therapy, like for example, solution-focused therapy, that does incorporate more coaching principles and helps a client move forward. However, overall, a therapist is going to focus much more on dealing with the past with a client. So there's certain areas that a coach would support a client with that would not be appropriate for them to support if it came up, that a therapist would be a much better fit for. So I'm going to explain the big 4 areas that are off limits for coaches and fair game for a therapist. So the first one is trauma. If a client has gone through a traumatic experience from the past that is unresolved and they require healing from that trauma, a therapist would be a perfect fit for them. Second is on drug and alcohol addiction. Coaches do not support clients who are going through drug or alcohol addiction. That is something that a therapist would help someone with. Third is around personality disorder. So a coach is not going to support someone on managing a personality disorder. However, a therapist is trained to identify and help someone manage any kind of personality disorder. For example, bipolar personality disorder or dissociative identity disorder, borderline personality disorder. These are all fair game areas for a therapist to help their client with. And finally, depression. If someone's going through major depression in their life and maybe they're having suicidal thoughts, then that's something that a therapist would be a perfect resource and professional to help them move through that. A coach would not be addressing those areas. So those are like the big 4 areas. That's not an exhaustive list, but in general, a therapist takes a clinical approach, meaning they sit down with their client, they have their client complete a questionnaire, and they ask their client some follow-up questions, and they diagnose their client with some kind of mental health issue, and then they provide a treatment to resolve that mental health issue. A coach does not have any kind of diagnoses that they are making with their clients. They are not diagnosing their clients. They're not prescribing their clients any medication. They are helping their clients get from where they are to where they want to be. So you might wonder, where are some situations that might come up that would be more appropriate for a coach? So let's say that there's an executive of a very successful company, and this executive is having some difficulty managing their team. Well, this executive may be a much better fit to work with a coach to help learn strategies to engage with their team, whereas it might not be as effective for them to work with a therapist to help them process their childhood or explore parts of their childhood that are unresolved. Another example could be if someone is going through any kind of big transition in their life, coaching generally is very, very helpful for someone taking that next step in life and wondering how to navigate that transition smoothly. So, for example, maybe someone is going through a divorce and they're looking for a way to move through their divorce smoothly and be strong and happy and single again and open themselves back up to dating. There are so many very successful divorce coaches out there that help clients with that. Or let's imagine that someone is fed up with their job, they want to quit and start their own business. They would be an amazing candidate to work with a business or an entrepreneur coach to help them learn strategies to successfully start their own business. One last example I could give is maybe someone is just graduating from college and they're wondering, what can I do next? What should I do? What is the career path that's right for me? They would be wonderful to work with a career coach to help them answer those big questions and clarify exactly what it is they'd like to get from their career. There's really endless possibilities of the types of challenges that coaches can help clients through. However, the orientation overall is they're taking someone that's already functional. Generally, they're successful people, but they're looking to reach that optimal level of success in their lives. So that's the main difference between the service offered between a therapist and a life coach. Now, the next part I want to talk about is the difference in training. Therapists and coaches have very different requirements on what it takes to be considered a certified or a licensed professional in that field. So for therapists, they are required to have at least a master's degree level of education. Some therapists go on to pursue their doctorate, and when they do that, when they get their doctorate in psychology, they're able to work as psychiatrists, meaning they can prescribe medication. So you must have your doctorate in psychology to become a psychiatrist and prescribe medication. A therapist alone cannot prescribe medication. So a therapist needs at least a master's level degree of education, and after that, they must go through thousands of hours, and that's not an exaggeration, thousands of hours of field training where they are practicing their therapy, and at the end of that, they get licensed. So licensing requirements vary in every state, and licensing is also a very expensive and for many therapists a very stressful experience and process to go through. But when a therapist does get licensed, they are able to offer counseling and therapy services within that state. So there are limitations around it. They are not able to offer their services to anyone from around the globe. They're limited to offer their services only within their state. So that is the path in which someone goes from being just interested in therapy to becoming trained and licensed in the field. Now, with Coaching, it's very different. And the biggest difference is that coaching as an industry is not regulated on a government and a state level. So for therapists, it's all regulated. It's all regulated from the government and the state level. With coaching, it is unregulated at those levels, meaning anyone can call themselves a life coach if they want. However, there are governing bodies, private organizations that have become governing bodies that have helped regulate our industry and significantly improve the credibility. For example, I am not just a certified coach, but I'm also a credentialed coach, which allows me to not just teach coaches how to learn ethical and professional and effective coaching skills. I am trained and credentialed to know how to do that. But also the coaching that I offer meets the guidelines set forth by the International Coach Federation. So the International Coach Federation, or the ICF, is one of the main governing bodies within the coaching industry. So as a credentialed instructor by the ICF, I teach students how to make sure that they are honoring proper ethics and professionalism and also core competencies within coaching. So many people think that coaching is just a free-for-all industry where anyone can charge anything they want and anyone could call themselves a coach. And that is true. However, there are governing bodies that have significantly increased the credibility that one has in this industry. And if you are someone looking for hiring a coach, I highly encourage you to make sure you know that your coach was certified and that they were trained by credentialed coaching instructors. Now, another big difference in the ways in which a therapist and a life coach are trained is that a therapist is not given or required to have any kind of business training. So if you are looking to have your own practice, if you're looking to have the freedom of being your own boss, a therapist gets licensed and educated on how to do amazing work as a therapist, but they lack any kind of business training. So oftentimes there's a big challenge that many therapists have of wondering how to have their own practice and market their own services. Not necessarily all therapists want to have that path, but it is a challenge. Whereas with coaching, many coaching schools do offer business training. You just have to really do your research if you're looking to become a coach. Make sure that if you want your own coaching business, that your school also provides you with a high level of business development and coach training. There are schools that do incorporate that, so that way you can get coach training skills, but also business development skills. And the two are different, and it's important that if you want your own business, that you make sure you get both. Now, the final area that I'd love to talk about in terms of differences between coaching and therapy is on career options and career possibilities. Now, when someone becomes a licensed therapist, as I shared before, they can work within the state that they are licensed in. So this might be very limiting for someone. If someone gets their licensing in Nebraska, and let's say that for whatever reason they move to California, they need to get a new license within California, which requires more expenses and more training and more time, so that way they can offer their therapy services in the state of California. It's quite rare for a therapist to have licenses in multiple states because it is such a complicated process to do that. So therapists usually offer their services and just stay within the state that they are licensed in. Now, one career option that therapists have is they could be hired by a mental health facility or a school district that is looking for a licensed marriage and family therapist or a licensed counselor. And they can have a part-time or full-time job comfortably within what that job allows. Now, in terms of salary, this is going to vary dependent on what state you're in, but generally the starting salary for a counselor is maybe between $35,000 to $40,000. An average salary, when you get a little bit further into your career, could be somewhere between $50,000 and $60,000. So there is a bit of a cap put on what a counselor can make. For some people, this may be a very comfortable salary that they can enjoy living within. It may fit their needs, and they may not desire any more. So it might be perfect for you if that's what you desire. Now, some therapists want more freedom, and they decide to have their own private practice. Now, there are still limitations within this based on the regulations that therapy requires. So you cannot just charge whatever you want as a therapist. And this was really shocking for me when I heard from close people in my life who are therapists that they are actually ethically only allowed to charge what is reasonable and comparable to what other therapists are charging in their area. So depending on what city or state you're in will affect and impact exactly how much you can charge. So if you're living in a part of the country where therapists are charging $75 an hour, you would not ethically be allowed, it wouldn't be proper or professional for you to be charging $250 an hour. Another thing to consider if you're a therapist is the insurance piece. So therapists, when they're licensed, they can absolutely allow clients to have their payments made through insurance, so that the insurance company will pay the therapist. Now, one thing you might not know about this is that the insurance company will decide how much they will pay the therapist, so how much the therapist can charge, and it will also decide how long the therapist can work with a client. So if an insurance company decides that they will pay the therapist $45 an hour and they can only work with a client on an hourly basis, then that is what the therapist must operate within. So there are pretty big limitations. If you're someone that has more of an entrepreneurial drive and you'd like to have more freedom and options and perhaps more wealth and income in your practice, then it is important to keep in mind the limitations that therapy has. Now, coaching, on the other hand, has a lot more flexibility and freedom. There's uncapped earning potential in what you can make as a coach. Many coaches are creatively able to offer much more than just their one-on-one time or just coaching a couple in one session. Many coaches offer additional value to their programs that they offer. So they can offer audio files, video files, books, and other templates and resources that can provide much more value to their clients and also allow them to charge a lot more because they are offering value in many different ways. Now, coaches as well can coach anyone, anywhere. So a coach is not limited to only work with a client within the state that they live in. They're able to work with clients from anywhere they want. I've had clients that I've worked with from different states and we've had virtual sessions. So there's a lot of freedom and flexibility that comes with pursuing a certification. And on average, a life or health or relationship coach may charge anywhere from $100 to $300 an hour. And for executive and corporate leadership coaches, the average is anywhere between $250 to $500 an hour. And there's coaches that even charge more than that. So there truly is a lot more opportunity if you're looking to make a great living and make a big difference in people's lives if you pursue a path as a professional coach and also desire to be an entrepreneur, which is an amazing thing. So one of the students that went through the Thriving Coach Academy, which is the coaching program that I run, she was working as a licensed therapist in California for many years, and she felt that she was kind of hitting a ceiling in that work. She wanted to have a bigger reach, she wanted more of an impact, and she also wanted more of an income. So she became a certified coach through our program, and within a year, she was able to quadruple her income that she made in her practice because she now could offer both therapy and coaching, therapy to people within her home state of California, and coaching to people all over the country that wanted to have coaching services from her. So there's tremendous opportunity for you, even if you're already working as a therapist, to expand your reach and your impact as a coach. So those are the big differences. Hopefully you're still with me, and that has helped to provide some clarity on this topic. So if you'd like to learn more about how to become a life coach and start a career as a life coach, go ahead and subscribe to this channel so you get more updates. And if you have any questions, leave them in a comment below and I will make a video to help you get started. And if you'd like a little bit more support, I actually wrote a book called Coaching 101, and it's for those of you that are looking to get a little bit more guidance on what to know before you start your journey as a certified life coach. So if you'd like a copy of that, you can download it for free in the description box below. You can grab your free copy of Coaching 101 and learn exactly the ins and outs of our industry and what options you have as a certified life coach. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I wish you the very best in your success as a coach.